If I were to ask you how you are doing today, what would you say? Would you say, I'm fine, I'm busy? Or would you say, I'm not fine? And the reason this is coming up for me today is because someone asked me how I was doing today, and I responded, I'm fine. And as soon as I did, I realized I was not fine. And there's always something happening in the world that is going to grab our attention. It is going to create a situation where we may not be fine. Like, I am not fine with children being killed in their classroom. I'm not fine. I'm angry and hurt and disgusted. And as I was thinking about how I was not fine, I made some decisions. And I realized that the decision that I needed to make was something that I do and have done in the past and want to continue on with the future. So, why should you be listening to me on gun violence here? Why should you be watching this? Well, I haven't always been a coach for lawyers. I was a criminal prosecutor for about 15 years. And during those 15 years, I dealt with cases involving gun violence. I dealt with cases involving horrendous crimes, including murder, random acts of violence. And during a few of those years, I had the opportunity to work with people who had attempted suicide, many of them former military, and committed other people within that realm committed other acts of violence, right? The mental health issues, the drug issues, all of the issues in the criminal justice system. And the biggest issue that I see, the common denominator that I see, is our disconnection from ourselves. And I have been working over the years to create a sense of connection with myself. I'm still not perfect at it. I still don't recognize immediately that I'm not fine. And that's okay. We don't have to be perfect at this. But one of the things I do with my clients, one of the things that I did as a prosecutor, is when I was talking to not only victims, but sometimes perpetrators of violence, the common denominator was our inability to connect emotionally to ourselves and to the people around us. And our society promotes disconnection. I see this all the time. When I was practicing the law, when I was going to school, the most important thing was work. It was never my emotional health. It was never my connection to myself. It was never my ability to have a vocabulary around connecting with myself. It was never to have an emotional vocabulary for helping those around me, for observing those people who might be going through something and reaching out. And so as I was thinking about what has been going on in the United States in particular, right? But we see violence everywhere. As I was looking around at this, the common denominator, and I've seen it before, and it just keeps reaffirming over and over and over again for me, it's our disconnection from ourselves and from those around us. It is our inability to feel. It is our inability to recognize what is happening within us, because until we recognize what's happening within us and how it's impacting our life, whether it is goal-oriented, right, or changing other aspects of our life, until we recognize what's going on inside, we cannot help other people. And that is why when we look outside of ourselves and we try to put new people, new politicians in, we try to make new laws, we try to get new judges into positions, that we do not see change. We don't see change because we are looking for something outside of us to change what needs to be changed inside of us. And for the lawyers out there watching this, you know, stare decisis doesn't mean a damn thing. Judges are going to change the law no matter what. We see what's going on here with the abortion laws. We see what's happening with every single law under the sun. It's been going on forever. So why do we think that that is going to change anything now? Oh, well, if we get new judges in, well, what is to say that those judges aren't going to change? Well, if we put more laws into place, well, what is to say that those laws aren't going to change? Well, if we put more politicians in place that are aligned with our beliefs, that hasn't helped. What makes you think that things are going to change because of that? What we need to do, and what I'm committed to doing, is working on ourselves, increasing our emotional vocabulary, connecting with people outside of ourselves, and recognizing the signs. And I don't know all of them. Like, I could tell you some of them right now, but I can't tell you all of them, right? Maybe I'll never will be able to do that. But what I can do is connect with like-minded people in the educational system, because that's where I believe it starts. I believe it starts with creating that connection at a young age and helping the parents understand that too. That's a huge step, creating that emotional connection. And there are so many hurdles. I mean, I was a prosecutor for almost 15 years. I've seen them. It is deeply entrenched in our culture, this disconnection from the people around us, from the neighborhoods. We have colors, we have religions, we have ethnicities, we have cultures, we have all of these, we have sexuality, we have all of these divisive things, all of these instruments that we have used against ourselves to divide us, right? That we have seen other people use to divide us, to disconnect us. And we need to relearn how to connect. Because when we relearn how to connect, everything becomes easier. And maybe that doesn't solve every single problem in the world, but it solves a whole lot of them. And so not only am I committed to myself and continuing to reconnect with myself and recognize when I am not fine, but I'm also committed to continuing the work that I'm doing with my clients, and I'm committed to connecting with those people in education who are like-minded and creating solutions, because there's always going to be a hurdle, right? Like, I was thinking about, even when we create the educational training, offer people the vocabulary to use around emotional intelligence. Even when we offer that to people, there are always going to be places, politicians, laws that are going to attempt to reduce their impact, reduce their effectiveness. But that's where I think my work is. And that's where I want to keep looking. And so the whole point of me coming on here was to let you know it's okay not to be fine. In fact, if you're fine right now, I would ask yourself, is that true? Because I don't think that most of us right now are fine. I think most of us right now are outraged. And if you're not outraged, ask yourself why. Reconnection is the only way to create a world that's better. And if you're not okay with the world as the way it is, if you're not okay with what you're seeing, if you're not okay with what you're experiencing, and changing all of the things and doing the voting and doing all of this stuff, like, great, I'm all for it. But when you see it's not working, then we've got to change how we're thinking about what we're doing. And that's the whole point of coaching, is thinking differently to create a different result. And we are not creating a result in which our children are safe. So I invite you to share this video. Maybe this will spark conversations. Maybe this will encourage people to reconnect with themselves. And while I'm talking about reconnecting, I'll tell you what I did this morning to help me physically reconnect, because emotionally, I just recognized I was not okay. I took a walk in the quiet. I took a bath. I made some screeching noises, those just like letting it out. Took some deep breaths, ground into myself. And then I decided to do this video. Because if I'm not okay, and I have emotional vocabulary around this, and I don't even watch the news that much, if I'm not okay, then chances are there's some of you who aren't okay either. And I hope that this video makes it okay to say, it's not fine. This is not fine. What's fine is not what I'm seeing. And maybe encourage you to take the actions that you believe are in alignment with your greatest skills, with your beliefs. Right. Thanks for listening. And I hope you have the opportunity to reconnect with yourself and give people around you hugs, right? And lots of love.